Hello everybody, my name is Elliot Kimmel. I am a retired science teacher and my hobbies are music and website creation and flash animation, whatever extent I can do all those. And I've got a big tutorial here which will be multi-parts, I'm sure. I'm going to do what I can to create this, what you see here. This is the finished product. It doesn't necessarily have all of the questions that I would use if I was making this into a full-fledged quiz. This has got about 6 questions and a win and a lose screen. But what I'll be doing over the next number of videos is creating all the graphics here and all the animations as well. I'm really into the black and white and gray these days. I've done a number of things in color on my website, www.zerobio.com. I'm certainly not a professional in graphics production or in flash animation, but I do what I can, and I have a lot of fun doing it, and the students really appreciate seeing something like this rather than just sort of the textbook review of science concepts. But of course you could use this for math or English or really any subject. My subject is science, and so I will be doing some science questions on the topic, in this particular case, of metabolism. This is for a grade 12 biology course, but I could do this for a grade 11 or grade 10 or whatever course I was teaching. I call this, if you look down here, the rack-mounted quiz, because it's supposed to simulate rack-mounted electronics components like you might see at a concert for a musician. All these pieces of equipment are mounted into the racks. I haven't put the screws in. I found that it looked actually better without them. Of course, they would just fall to the ground like this. But these would be rack-mounted pieces of electronics. This is the monitor up here where we'll be reading the questions and using the next and back buttons and the help buttons, which I'll go over in a moment. This is the loader, the card loader. These are cards, but they could be cassettes or any other graphic that you like. As you can see, there's A, B, C, and D, so this is a multiple choice quiz. This is the card analyzer, as I've called it, and the card will come down into the AccuView meters, and this will determine whether or not the answer that is chosen, A, let's say they chose A, whether that is correct, yes, or incorrect, no. Some of these graphics are just for show, to fill up the space and make it look a little bit like electronics equipment. And down at the very bottom, there are some scorekeepers for the number of right answers, the number of wrong answers, and a threshold meter over here, or threshold graph, which will indicate 4 wrong answers. And if you hit 4 wrong answers, then the game is over, and you'll see that. I'm dedicating this quiz to Alan Parsons, who is a sound engineer, recording engineer, and very famous from the Alan Parsons Project, and for doing work with Pink Floyd and the Beatles and others. So Mr. Parsons, this is for you. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of how this works. Don't expect anything too incredible. This is just something that I work on as a hobby for fun and for students. Okay, so this is the introduction screen here, metabolism, with some instructions. And if you were to click the help button here on, you would see that this is the first step of what you would do as you progress through the quiz. Basically, the questions will show up here. Step 2 is going to be to use this load button. Okay, there are 4 load buttons corresponding with A, B, C, and D. Step 3 is to look at the AccuView meters relating to each letter. And step 4 is to check out your score down here and make sure that your threshold isn't going up, getting wrong answers. And then step 5 is to progress to the next question. So I'm going to turn off the help, and I'm going to show you how this works. So as we progress, we'll hit the next button. And this will take us to question number 1. You can see there's a page number here, and I don't know if you noticed that there was a bit of a fade, okay? And there's even a fade on the main screen, so I'll show you that again. A little bit of a fade in question, and then we read the first question. So I'll go through this example. The type of metabolism that involves breaking down large molecules into smaller ones is referred to as, and then you choose from these 4 selections: anabolism, catabolism, reductionism, or deamination. So the correct answer is B, because we're breaking stuff down. This is catabolism. So what the student would do is come over, and this load button relates to letter B. So they would press this, the card goes down, and then the meter changes and says, yes, this is the correct answer. And down here it indicates that we got one of these right. Now, if the student was to choose C, let's say, it would do that. So the needle of the AccuView points towards no. The red light comes on. This turns red, so it's very easy for them to see this is wrong. And we've got one answer wrong, so both, we see our score is 1 wrong, and also the threshold has gone up by 1. Now, that stuff, those scores are maintained, but when we go to the next page, we will reset the cards. Okay, so another question fades in. This is page 2. Different question, different answers, cards ready to go, but we've still got 1 right from the first question and 1 wrong, and our threshold is at 1. So we've got another question here, and I'll just arbitrarily choose A. This is going to be wrong. So we see that it's wrong, and our threshold has gone up. All right, the correct answer is going to be C, and that's going to turn to the green. The needle's going to point towards yes, this was the right answer. The green light will go on, and we've now got 2 right, but we've maintained our 2 wrong. We can see that there, and we can see it in the threshold. If I was to go on and choose another wrong one, watch this. Wrong, we're at 3. Now watch what happens when we hit 4, all right? We go to there, to the game over screen. Now, you could do a number of things. You could show a cracked screen. You could darken these. You could, make it look all deformed, like it's broken, to show the game over, to make it have a little bit more impact. But we've reached our threshold of 4 wrong answers, and the game is over. In order to continue, they cannot press the back button and go to the last question. Watch what happens. This takes us back to the very beginning. So either the next or the back button at that point will reload it. All right, they have to start again. So the goal in this series of tutorials is to do this completely from scratch, to build all of the graphics, and then to code the whole thing to get a product very similar to this. I obviously cannot guarantee that it will be exactly the same. It's taken me many, many hours to create the graphics for this. Again, not being a real graphics artist, just tinkering away. And another many hours to do the coding. The coding is not difficult, and it is not particularly streamlined. This is not best practice code. This is just code that works for me and works for my students. I'm not trying to do things the best possible way, the shortest way, the least CPU intensive way. In the end, I'm going to close this. In the end, the file size here is 52 kilobytes. All right, and that's for a quiz that had, I believe it was 7 questions, 6 or 7 questions, a win screen, a lose screen, and all these graphics. So, if you build this up to 15 or 20 questions or 30, let's say, that's a reasonable size quiz, 30 multiple choice questions. Maybe it's 100K, maybe it's less. That's nothing. All right, so I'm not going to suggest that the way I do this is the right way to do it. It's just, it works for me, and when stuff doesn't work, I just try a different approach, I've just learned certain things over the years that work, and I use them again and again, and it might not be the most efficient way of doing things, and I might be putting code in places where people will go, well, why would you do it that way? Why wouldn't you just put it on the root, in some function? Because this is what I know how to do, and it works, and If you are like me and you are not a pro at using Flash, although I will be using Flash Professional 8, and I will be coding in ActionScript 2. All right, that's very important that you know that it's ActionScript 2, it's not ActionScript 3. But if you're like me in those respects, then maybe this will help give you some ideas of what you could do and how you could potentially do it. All right, I'm not really looking for comments on, you could have done this way or that way. I don't really care, no offense or anything. I don't have that much time to perfect what I'm doing. I'll just do what I do, and I hope that you're interested in this and this can help somebody. Either way, I really enjoy making this and making these tutorials, and so we're going to have some fun here. All right. So let me just make sure that I am recording, and I am. And we'll probably go for about an hour at first, and we'll break this up into parts. All right, so this is called rack-mounted quiz. I always do my last iteration as final. I capitalize final so that in my directory when I'm searching through, I have rack-mounted quiz 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, A, B, C, D, E, and then I go back and I resave over 1 and 2 and etc. So I keep final as my last one, and I've got a new file open here in Flash, and all I've got is my blank stage here. I'm at 1280 by 720. I'm going to switch this right now to 30 frames per second, and on the first layer, locked layer, I've got just a reference image. I exported a JPEG of the first screen there. It didn't come in with the text, so that I can look at this and I can get an idea of what I have to draw. I will also be referring back to, actually not this one, I don't want that one. Actually what I'll do is, I'm going to save this as, I'll call it Rack Mounted 4 Tutorial. Okay, I'm just rewriting over that. In case I come in here and I make some changes to the code or I knock something around by accident, I don't want to affect my final version. Okay, so this one I can refer to it. It's got all the code, all the graphics, all my layers, and that kind of thing. Okay, so this is going to be a big project. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know where to start. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this region right down here, and I'm going to just start creating this. Now, I called this the loader because this loads the cards, and so I'm going to do my best to start creating that. All right, so I'm going to go to black, stroke, and white, and I'm going to choose the rectangle tool. And I'm going to start with a stroke of about 4. And we are going to just start drawing. Now, there is no corner radius on this, which is good. I guess I don't have to work with that. I don't have to try to think about that. And I'm just drawing out a box, and I don't want it to be too big. What I might do, just to start off, I don't want to be cheating here, is I might drag this up and lay it down and see how, yeah, I think I'll do that, if you don't mind. Just for this first one, to get a sense of dimensions, I'm just going to trace over this for a moment and get this rectangle a little bit more in line with the correct size. So that's probably good enough. Boy, it seems small. Am I really looking at that? Is that really? Yep, that's it. All right, I guess it's because the cards extend over it. So let me center this up. And like I said, this is going to be the loader. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a symbol. I'm going to call it loader. And I'm going to instance it right now and call this loader. So we've got that. And I'm going to name the layer loader, and we are going to start creating stuff. What I could do is I could punch out these holes already. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll come up to another layer, and I'm just going to draw. They weren't perfect circles or anything, something like that. And all right, I'm gonna cut this, put this on the first layer. Oh, I'm not inside, am I? All right, let's see if I can do this better. Okay, I'll come up to another layer. I'll just leave that there for a second. This is going to be the body of the loader, so I'm going to be labeling my layers, and I will move this into the position that I want. Let's see, that's maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller. I don't want it too small or anything. I will not be cheating too much like this, but that's fine. Okay, I just took the stroke out. Okay, so, or the fill. Let's paste this back down on the body layer. And I'm going to just move this along. I suppose I could have done this on another layer and then gotten these exact, but I'm not going to be perfectly exact in this. I'm just doing this stuff by eye. Okay, I'm going to select that and remove it. Select and remove. And select and remove all of these. So there actually will be holes through here. And if I switch to another color, which I'll be doing later, I'm not going to do that yet because that's always such a cool thing to do. Then we'll be able to see through it. Okay, so we are looking at this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to actually 1, 2, 3. I need 3 lines. I think I'm going to go ahead and try and do that. And yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'm going to choose hairline. And I think what I'll do is I'm on another layer. I'm going to draw a line down. I've got my snap on. And I'm going to center this. Okay. And then yeah, I think I wanted one right in the center anyhow. Okay, I'll copy it. Edit, paste in place. And yeah, I'm going to keep going. All right, that was about 30. Again, can't guarantee these are going to be, I can move these later, of course. Let's see if that's reasonably close to, it's not quite on, but we'll just start with that for the moment. I'm going to cut these right now and I'm going to place them on the body layer. It's not a problem. Okay, all those can be moved later. I'm going to be saving very frequently. What I'll do now to give this thing a little bit of the appearance of a rack is I'm going to start drawing the back side of this. So I'll come back to the body layer and I'm going to go back up to level of 3 for my stroke. I'm just going to be using the line tool. Come in here to 200 and I'm just going to hold shift and come out a little ways. And I'm going to draw a line straight down here and I don't care how far it goes. We'll be pulling it the rest of the way anyhow. Actually, what I'll do is I'll come over to this corner and hold to constrain and make it 45 degrees and I'm going to pull this out straight and then I'm going to get rid of the ends. Hopefully they join there and I'll just make sure that it has joined. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it'd be nice if it works. All right, I'm going to fill this with black. Great. And I might just copy that. Let me try this. I'll hold Shift and Alt and I'm just going to bring it out and copy it. And then I'm just going to squish it down equally a little bit, not too much. I just want to see if that angle is going to look good. Let me leave it there for a second. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. So let me bring it in a little bit more. bring it in a little bit more. Okay, not too bad, but maybe a little thick. But I'm not sure actually, so I'm going to leave that for the time being. Okay, and we'll see if the whole thing actually may be a little bit thick. In fact, I can almost guarantee that it's going to be. Although on the other hand, we'll see. All right, so let's go ahead, and I want to make this little panel in the back with some bolts. So I'm going to come up to here. I'll stay at 3 for my stroke for now, and I'm going to try drawing it over here. I'm just going to be going back and forth to see how many things have to fit in this space. Okay, and what about my line thickness? I think I'm pretty good so far. Actually, if I've got to fit 4 bolts, that's fine. I don't know. I'm just going to call this panel. And I'll call it panel right here for now. And I think what I'll do is I will build my bolt. I'm going to build my bolts on the outside for now. And I might move them in later, but I'll be reusing some of them. So I'll come down to 2. We'll try 2 with a fill of white. And we'll see how this goes. Just to get a sense of the size. That's pretty small. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. I might even make the panel a bit bigger. Again, I can make them smaller if I want. Okay, well, I'm going to start with that. This is going to be bolt, and chances are, though, I am going to make this a stroke of 1. And that may look a little bit better. And I'm going to come in here. Now, I'm not always going to label my layers. I might, I may not. We'll see how it goes. What I'll do is these bolts, just a black circle or a black square inside them. That's good enough. So I'll try something like that. That's going to be too small, I'm sure. I'll center that in there. Actually, that's not too bad. You know, it's just a design element. All right, so that's going to be my bolt, and I'll bring another one down here, and I'll copy them out to here. And those probably are too big for a panel like this, right? Although it doesn't look bad. But I think, you know, I had more space in this one, although not that much. I think maybe I could make them maybe 90% of their size. So I'll do that for all of them. You'll notice that I am not overly adept at using shortcut keys. That's totally fine. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. Okay, so we've got a little panel there. You know, do I put the bolts inside? Do I not put the bolts inside? I don't know. Maybe I will. All right, let's do that. Let's go inside the panel, and I'll call this body. So in the end, sometimes I do label the layers. I generally know when I need to and when I don't have to, how important it's going to be, how important that particular interface is going to be, and if I'm going to be using it quite a bit. So that will determine whether or not I label my layers. In this case, I'll go ahead and do it anyhow. It's good practice. And I always end up locking stuff up, and then I just end up unlocking it. All right, I'll be using that layer again in a bit. So let's see. That's what we've got so far. Very impressive. All right, if I come up here, is there any other design element in that? No, not really. Now the next thing is this card holder thing here. which is a rectangle and a little bit of a back piece, but some of it goes in behind the card. You could either draw that, or you could fake it and have it end right at that point. I believe in my original, you see, I've got this thing, you see here, card reader back. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong part. Analyze, where is it? In the loader. Here's my loader. Let's go in. Well, maybe I did cheat. Maybe I did cheat. Either way, I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to make something exactly like this, but I'm going to give it a try. So let me just have a look at what we're doing here. All right. When the cards go down, when the card slides down, it's not going to leave this area, so I could really just draw it to there, and it would still look like the card is inside that. So it's about in the middle of that panel, so let's just go ahead and start drawing something else around the middle of that panel. So I'm going to draw on this layer, and I might be reducing this stroke too later as well. So let's just go ahead and do this. Okay, so let's go for a stroke of 3 for now. And let me remember, is it smaller or is it bigger? Yeah, okay, it's smaller, it fits within, so something like this. Let me just see if that's the general idea. Okay, overlapping the screws, coming down about 3/4. Yeah, that's totally fine. And what's in it? Okay, I've got a little other plaque there. I've got a couple of screws. Okay, that's fine. Now, do I have a special name for this? So let's go into the loader. And I know what the slot says, card and slot. Yeah, I put that together. All right, so I'm actually going to come into this region, which is called card and slot. You can see it selects the card and selects this region here. And obviously this is where the card animation is going to be. So you can see it'll slide down, but it'll stop there. Yeah, see, now that I look at this, I can see that I've got bracket front. That's this region. And the bracket back, which is that region. So if I get rid of the card and bracket front, I've just got this piece. All right. So we can go ahead, but I've called this bracket, so we'll just start going. Okay, so we're going to make this do something like this. I'm going to come up there like that, and I'm going to go back. And I come here like this. I'm just holding shift to constrain it to 45. I don't know that that's the best angle. And then I'll ruin the angle a little bit as I drag these to try and snap them together, but that's okay. Okay, that's pretty close. I'll get rid of that. And I'll get rid of that. And we should be pretty good there. Okay, now I'm just thinking before I go on and add any details, I'm just gonna do this. So what I do is I grab part of it, like, let's say that much. That might be too much, and it might be tough to grab. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna grab that. Oh, by the way, do I have I got these filled in? That's white. That's nothing. Okay, I want to fill this in with white first and see if I got that. Yeah, great. Okay. So I'm going to grab this section here. I'm going to cut that and put that on another layer. And I'll call this bracket back. And I'll lock that up. Therefore, this is bracket front. Right? Oh. Bracket front. And I can go ahead and make that a symbol. I'll call it the exact same thing. And I can go ahead and make this a symbol. I may not have in my original, but it's just sometimes easier to deal with. Okay, now I'm going to bring this down here. All right, and I'm going to work inside this symbol here. So this is the body of the symbol. I'm going to come up another layer, and we are going to use those bolts. And I will likely have to adjust them. So centered. Okay, roughly centered. Let's go ahead and make these. Let me try 70. You know, just to have something different. Okay, and I'm just going to drag another one out here. We're just making some design elements so that it looks kind of interesting. All right. Now the one thing, you know, I don't want to have too big of an angle here so that, you know, for this perspective view, whatever, because I want to kind of be looking straight on, but a little bit at the top. So I think we'll be okay. So I'll do that. And these are my bolts. And I'm going to draw a little plaque, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to draw this black plaque in the middle. I don't know what it is, but it's just something there. Okay, so I'm going to call it Plaque. And come in here, and I think for that I'm going to use 1 as a stroke, and I'm going to be switching the colors a little bit, but I'll do something like this, and let's try this. Okay, we'll just position it, and I'm going to make this black, and I'm going to take the stroke. Is this what I want to do? You know, there's so many ways you could do it. Yeah, I'm going to take the stroke off, and I'll paste it on another layer. And I'm just going to expand it. Might be an easier way to do this then. Expand it like that for now. I'm going to bring it in a bit closer, actually, though. Yeah, that's good. That's good enough. I'm going to make this hairline. And then I'm going to... maybe I shouldn't have done it this way. I don't know. I'm going to start cutting pieces out of it. I'm going to make those little corner areas here. Whether I can do them all together, I'm not sure. But that's actually what I'm going for. So I'm going to call those curves. Now, yeah, that's fine with me. I do need some other bolts, and I need some bolts in here. So I'm just going to unlock that layer. And how many did I put? Did I put 2 or 4 or... Oh, I just did white holes. Yeah, I take it back. Okay, and yeah. All right, I'm just going to come up to another layer. And fill, but no stroke. And I'm already at 400, am I? Okay, that's fine. Just a small white dot. Okay. And copy it to the other side. Good. And copy them down. Good. Check it out. Yeah, nice and small, but looks fine. Actually, how are those curves looking? That looks pretty good. White bolts. I may end up with a few different layers here that I didn't have before, but that's okay. So I got that. Okay, oh, the fun stuff. Let's make a resistor. Now this is just my way of making a resistor, and maybe I can zoom in on this one. There you can see it a little bit sharper there. All right, well, let's. I'm using hairline for this, so let's go ahead and give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna come up here, and I know that I will be reusing these, so I will be making these into a symbol. Let's go black hair, which is hairline, and white, And I'm just going to drag out sort of a cylinder like this. Actually, I think I probably want a darker line than that. It's probably not hairline. It's probably 1. Yeah, that's good. So let's, to do this, I just copy that line and send it in a little bit. Do that kind of thing. You know, just this, that, and then I fill some of these in with black like that. And then I generally take this area, I'm going to zoom way in now. Take that area, I believe I do that this way, and I just squeeze it in a little bit. Nope, that didn't work. Maybe you can, yeah, that's good. Let's delete that region there. And let me try it over here as well. See what happens if I do it at the end. That might be a bit weird. I will give that a try. All right, and then I just draw a line coming out. I think I usually make that hairline though. We'll check it out in a bit. Oops, yeah, that's I hate when that happens. Yeah, no, that actually looks a little bit small. So let's do it that way. Like that. Take it to the other end. Okay, that's good. And then I'll just draw a little piece off on 45-degree angle that way. And that way. And so I usually do that, and then I will modify, convert to symbol, call this resistor, or resistor 1, let's say. And I'll go into it, and on another layer I'll just draw a black circle or oval, whatever. Yeah, maybe a little bit more circular though, because I'll probably stretch these as I scale them, and I suppose the more circular it is to start with, the better. All right, so I do that kind of thing, and I don't need to label those. And already I can see I want this a little bit smaller than that, so I'm just going to do this, maybe this. See what that looks like. It's just such a small thing. Now, why does that look so tiny? Well, that's basically what it is. Yeah. I'll make it a little bit bigger, come to think of it. Maybe a little bit fatter as well. And we'll just see how that shows up. No, I don't want it fatter than that. Okay, well, to improve on this, what I'll do is I'll add some more black to it. So I'll take this region, and I'm going to put some more black, and we'll just see if that makes any difference or not. Okay, well that's resistor 1. We'll do some different stuff in a moment. So there's resistor 1, and you know, it's possible that I could just copy it over and duplicate it and call it resistor 2, and go in and see if I can, you know, change things up or not. Whether or not this is actually any faster than rebuilding it. Okay. Didn't really like that area that much. Yeah, I don't know that this is really much quicker. but it's something, we're doing it now, so just bear with me while I draw this. Yep. Okay. So what do we want? I want, let's see, is that a whole line? I'll grab that. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'll go to there. I can just drag and copy, obviously. I'll make a slightly bigger block area. And then maybe what I'll do is I just, grab this area and expand it like that. Maybe a bit more. And try this. This is going to be a different style. No, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to do that at all. Nope, don't want to do that. Take this one. And again, put some black in there. And then we'll grab that. We'll try this. Let's see what that looks like. You know what? At this small size, that looks just fine. Okay, so I've got 2 resistors on here, and it's looking pretty cool so far. Let's just go out and have a look and see what we need for this. Resistors on one side only, and I think we got that part pretty much done. Great. Okay, so we've got this little bracket thing done so far, and the card is going to slide underneath it, so we'll set this up in a bit for that. And then I've got this slot that the card goes under as well, so I'm going to do a slot and we'll put it up here. All right, so I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to call this layer slot, and we'll come down and we'll draw something like this. It's very simple, but we'll do something like that. Where is that? About around where the hole is. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do this. I'll choose white and black, and I'm going to go for 2 now. I might be adjusting some strokes very soon, so I'm just going to be drawing something like that. And I'll make this a symbol already. And it'll be a little bit easier to work with inside. Okay, so I'm going to take this and drag it there. Let's see if I can center that up. Okay, and I think I made a little space there in the middle, didn't I? Yeah, and put a screw. So I'll 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say I'll do another one. So I'll use that area. I'll put a screw inside there, and I'll just screw at the end. So let's just go ahead. This is going to be the body of the slot. And I'll grab a bolt, and we'll see how she fits in there. So let's transform it. Say let's go for 50, and see. Oh, that's not a bad size at all, actually. That's great. And I believe I need another one at the end here. And another one at the end here. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, just small little details. I might need to bump up the stroke on this whole thing, just to keep with the theme of everything. And we'll just see how that looks. That might look a little bit better. Okay. These are bolts. And I think I drew a little hairline line down the center here, something like that. And I'll drag it to the other side as well. And just eyeball the position. Yeah, it gives a little bit of a look. some kind of look. I don't know, lines. And we'll come back to the body, and we'll zoom in a little bit more. I should have selected it. All right, we're losing everything here. Come on. That's probably good enough. I'm constantly saving, and I'm going to go back to my 3-stroke. And I believe what I did here is I just angled this up a little bit and a little bit. Yeah, these thicknesses, sometimes they're a little bit weird. That's probably fine. Will that be long enough? I'm not sure. I think probably it'll be just fine. I'm just going to come over here and make sure that the same length. Cut that. I'll do that, and then I come up here and I put with, I think, hairline, a little circle like this under there. Maybe I'll make it a bit more elliptical. Something like that. Let me come in even closer than that. Almost barely noticeable, and certainly actually smaller than my original, isn't it? I'm quite zoomed in, so let's yeah, that's a little extreme for smallness. Let's do something like that. Try that and see how that looks like almost like little suction cups. Something like that. I might even want to move these down. How's that look? I mean, it just gives the impression that it's attached. That's totally fine. You know, it's possible that this should be maybe a stroke of 1. It might look better. Make sure those are filled. Yeah. Let me see. Yep, that's fine. That's great. Okay, it's going well so far. So this is whatever. Suction cups, just so I can kind of remember what's going on later. Okay, so we may have to adjust the position of all of this stuff, and it'll all get repeated down the interface. And remember, this is just one part, and we're not even coding anything yet. So, okay, I want to have another look at the top of this. I see that it's darker. You know, there's a darker part. The whole front piece is darker. So let's go ahead and add that now. So what I'm talking about is this piece right here, the bracket front. So I'm going to come into bracket front, and I'm going to select on the body layer just that area. I'm going to make that black. Okay, so that will help us down the road, I think. Give it a nice kind of look as the card will slide in behind it. It looks a little bit like a shadow. Great. Now, what is next? Save, save, save. We got that piece. We got that piece. We can go ahead and do this light. Let's do that. Where did I put that? That is within this symbol. So the card and slot symbol. So, was there anything else? I got the base, you know, or body, panel, slots, load button. Okay, so this is a separate thing. This is an important button right here, right? Okay, so why don't we go ahead and we can have a look at that. Bunch of concentric circles, animated. I just want to have a look at, I've got an indent, I've got my button, ring animation, some text and actions. So yeah, let's we'll leave that there. We'll go ahead and we'll make this button, and that should be fun. Okay, so I'm going to come up here. Is that basically the hierarchy that I wanted? Let me double check. This is in the loader, just in the yeah, I did it just above the slots, so it's in the loader right above the slots. Okay, so this is going to be the load buttons. I'll call it load button for now, and I'm going to go with white and a stroke of 3 and get a sense of how big this thing is. I'm going to have my card right here, and I'm going to have a nice button right there. Okay, and I am going to call this load button, aren't I? Yeah, load button or loader button. And let me double check that. Yeah, they're all the same, so I'm going to call it loader button. BTN. And I'm going to be giving all these things instance names in a bit. I'm not going to worry about that right this second. And I didn't go quite as wild on this stroke, so let's just grab that stroke and bring it down to 2. And we are going to do circle in the middle. All right, well, let's just go ahead and work our way in a little bit. Edit, copy, edit, paste in place. I had a dashed line, I think was probably 1. Yeah. Now, I actually animated this, and so I'm going to cut it. I'm going to call it dashes. Not good enough. This is going to be body, the body of the button. Okay, so we got the dashes, and I'll come in, edit, copy. Yeah, I'll come up, edit, paste in place, and I'll do this middle black circle. I'm just going to fill this with black. I think I'll get rid of the stroke, but I might need to make the circle bigger. I kind of do want it a little bit bigger. And I put a dab of white in there. So I'm just going to draw something there. See if I can find it. Something like that. This is going to rotate around like that. And I had one more layer. And let's see, should I call this? Let me just have a look at this, and we'll see how much we got to do. That's my whole button there. I guess I animated. What did I animate? That thing going around. I guess I rotated that whole thing, and I brought the stroke out. That's totally fine. Yeah. Well, I've got my dashes out, and that's just the center. Well, why don't we do it like this? Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to paste it on the body layer. I'm going to call this button. We'll make it a little bit more similar to my last one as well. All right, so I've got my button. I've got that. There is something else that I need, and I'm going to grab this, edit, copy. I'm going to paste it here, edit, paste in place. I'm just going to shut those down for the moment. And I like to do these colors here, what I call my indent. And I like to drag it out just a little bit. And it sometimes looks like the button is indented into the background. There's a little shadow, helps. Now, these dashes may be a little bit small for animating. We may want, let me see if I try to, it may look okay. And I'm going to grab that stroke, P, and I'm going to be animating the button. In fact, I think the dashes are in the button. Yeah, let's do this. Sorry, I'm changing my mind a couple times here. Okay, good. So we can animate all of that together. Yeah, that's good. And I'm going to copy this. And I'm just going to make this solid. Okay. And going about this a bit of a strange way, but I can totally do it this way. I'm going to make a shape actually here. Make it a bit. Yeah, let's make this hairline just because I want to fill inside. Oh, that looks cool, doesn't it? Okay, what I want to do is I want to fill this area with black. I want to get rid of the stroke. And I want to get rid of that line there. And this may look a little bit different than the original. And that's actually a cool thing. All right, because you never know what you're going to get. I'm going to bring that just to about there. Just to about there. And it's not dashes anymore, but I don't know. Slices, as you'll see. And this is the indent. I call it indent. I'll be using that quite a bit. And then come up to here. I'm going to just choose as nothing for that. And a fancy color for this so I can see it. And I'm going to just cut through the center in a couple of different ways. There and there. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Okay. And I'm now going to delete that piece and delete this piece and then delete those lines. And I'm going to be animating these things as well. Okay, these slices. All right, that's my basic load button. So I'm going to come up to the top. So we got to do some code and we got to do some graphics. Actions layer, F9, stop. Now, let's see how long we made this go. Frame 7, okay, and I'll get my text in there later. 7, so yeah, I might as well do it the same. I'm going to put F5 here, and for the time being, I'm going to animate this part right here. So F6, I'm going to motion tween this, and I'm going to grab my transform, and I see this white dot. I'm going to rotate it until the white dot is somewhere down there. All right, something like that. Okay, so it's going to go like this. And already those outer rings are going great, so I like that. I'm also going to motion tween this part here. And I'm going to see if I can get it to go the other direction. Just drag it around, see how well that works. There we go. Is it going the right way? As long as they're going in opposite directions, some of them, I'm going to be happy. Okay, let's continue for the moment before we test it out. Text layer. Now, I'm going to be using impact for a lot of this. I will be moving this button in a moment, so don't worry about the fact that it's close to the hole. I'll start with hairline. No, you know what? I think it's got to be 1. And I'm just going to drag a line up here. And I may have to reduce. Let me see actually how big that button is. Well, it is a similar size, isn't it? Okay. Let's come over here. Let's get rid of that. Center that. And I'm going to write in, well, let's write capital letters, load. I'm going to choose impact. And I'm going to go for about 10. We'll try 10. I'm probably going to be going up to 12. I don't think I want any of that nonsense. I think that is kind of what I'm looking for. I think, though, it may have to go up to 12 for the text, just to make it a little bit more readable. It's starting to look good, though. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's say that was there. Now, what I'm going to do is, just for the moment, I'm going to put on some sample code, and I'm going to say on press this dot go to and play frame 2 of its animation. All right, I'm going to give this a try. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, so let me also check that I've got, I don't have a stop at the end, so I'm going to drag this stop to there and give it a try. And I want that white to end up down there, so when they do it, and that's going to signal the card coming through. Okay, now space. All right, did I make it mine a little bit bigger? Maybe that's what I did, but I like it though. I like it big like that. So I think we're just going to leave that, and we are starting to, I mean, it's not that big, obviously. It's a little bit micro size for all of this, but it's coming together. Well, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this on button here. I'm not going to put it inside the card structure here. I'm just going to do it out here. So we'll just go ahead and do that, and then I think we need to stop the video, and I'll come back in part 2. So I'm just going to draw an on button. I'm going to put it right there. There's my load button, and this is just going to be my on button. It's really not going to be a button per se. It's just going to sit there, but I'm going to draw it anyhow like this, and I'm going to, I guess I'll get rid of the stroke there. Yep. And why don't I just take that and make it a lot smaller here. And I want to make it white and bring it back over to here. Hope that's not too big. Let's see. No, that looks fine. Okay, I'm going to grab all of this, and I think I will make it a symbol. It's just a little bit easier to do the next step. I'll come in. I've got the whole thing. I'm not even going to label the layers on this. I'm going to paste it above, and I'm going to turn it to this second sort of off-white, or that gray. I'm going to expand it a little bit so that this is going to be my indent. Let's have a look at that. I'm going to do it a tiny bit more. All right, that's what gives it this sort of indented look, like almost like a little bit of a shadow sticking into this interface. I may not be able to. Let's see if that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. I like that. So I'll actually, yeah, you know, I take it back. I think it's too much. Let's see if I can get it a tiny bit smaller. That's fine. Just the hint. Once I have a bunch of them, it'll be more exaggerated. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to use the line tool, and I'll do this. You know, well, why not? Just for the fun of it, we'll have the odd one of these that goes off to the side, and then we have the text above that. So once again, impact 12, it looks like. and that's going to say on. That's my on button. It is a little crowded in here, but that's the way it is. That's one. I'm not worried about anything else. And you know, maybe I'll line it up. It'll be better. We'll just have to make sure it doesn't influence the card. Well, that's what we got so far. Okay, so hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and hope you'll come back for part 2. Thank you very much.